Just by looking at me, you could never tell I've been through something. But God has kept me, and he could do the same thing for you.
I want to talk to you. We're going to pray. Remain standing. I want to talk to you this morning on the topic, crippled and still blessed. Yeah, I'm crippled, but I'm still blessed. Simply put, simply put, it's how you perceive something and how you perceive it, how it affects how you think about a subject or a topic. Because how you think about something dictates how you will respond about something. If my perception of a thing is a negative perception, then my reaction will therefore be negative. But if my perception is positive, then my response more than likely will also be positive, because perception is when I am apprehended, literally arrested by what I am feeling or thinking. Men differ a bit in this area from women because women are sometimes emotionally driven. Men, on the other hand, use what is classified in the psychosomatic world as didactic reasoning. In other words, we have to reason everything that we are faced with, that the stimulus comes. We have to reason. And the trouble with that is that based upon my reasoning is dictated by my upbringing, my thought on a topic, and my perceived issue. So in other words, if I was brought up with no father in my house, my didactic reasoning will look at a thing from a perspective of never having a man in my house. How you see things is vital with our walk with God. Am I boring y'all? Perception is what gets us in trouble, because we perceive things irrationally sometimes based upon our own life's experience. Do I have a witness in here? Y'all ain't gonna talk back to me. This is just too deep for y'all. Well, let me make it simplistic for you. If I wasn't raised right, then I don't know how to do right. That's pretty much the bottom line. If I wasn't raised right, I don't know how to do right. If all I know is to cuss and fuss, then when I'm presented with a stimulus that's negative, the only reason I get out of it is through cussing and fussing. Genesis chapter 1, 26 says, let us make man in our image after our likeness. Image simply means that we share God's nature and have the capacity to spiritually fellowship with God. Man's likeness to God is what distinguishes us from any other creature that was made during the time of creation, because man has the power to think and to feel and to decide. When David pondered this whole thought about thinking and pondered this whole thought about the creation and how God made man, being a man himself, after considering all of the marvelous works of God and the stars in the sky and the moon and the sun, he announced, what is man that thou art mindful of him? What is man that thou took time to think about him? He says this quotation is made, and this question is raised in the time in which man had already been living in a fallen state. But I'm so glad that I had a talk with God. Because in many instances, my reputation preceded me. But one day I had a wrestle with God. I had an interchange with God. And God was able to change my background, my genie pants, and make them into straight leg pants. I wish I had a witness in here. The Bible says, watch this, the Bible says that Jacob wrestled with God. The Bible says that he wouldn't let go until he received a blessing. Some man or woman in this sanctuary today is wrestling with God, wrestling with him about your family, wrestling with him about your finances, wrestling with him about your purpose in life, wrestling with him of what you should do and should not do. Somebody in this room is wrestling with God, and is not limited to some man. Some woman is wrestling with God about circumstances that are going on in your life right. Touch your neighbor and say, right now. But I declare that you ought not let go of God until he bless you. You ought not give up your prayer until he bless you. You should not stop wrestling with God until he bless you. You should not throw in the towel until God bless you. Touch your neighbor and say, just wait, baby, wait. And the angel of the Lord said, let me go. Let go of me. You're bothering me too much. And Jacob said, I don't care whether I'm bothering you in the morning, bothering you at night, at lunchtime, at the dinner table, at bedtime, in the midnight hour. I am not going to let you go until you bless me. Y'all should be saluting God right there. But that's okay. Maybe you don't want your blessing, but I sure enough want mine. I don't know who I'm talking to in here, but somebody in this room stands in need of a blessing right now. There's somebody up in this place that desires a blessing right now. Somebody in here has been begging and pleading and asking God. I stopped by here to let you know that don't let go until God blesses you. It was so intense. I'm almost through. I'm going to sit down. It's so intense that the angel of the Lord threw Jacob's hip out of joint. If you read the text, even though his hip was thrown out of joint, he never let go. Baby doll, you're going to go through hell and high water. Baby doll, sometimes it's not going to look real good on your behalf, but I declare that even if you're crippled, you ought not let go, because God can bless you even though you're crippled. He can bless you even though you're not looking right. He can bless you whether you're not dressed right. Look at me. He dressed me in genie pants. I will take her out, security. Take. Look at what the angel said. He said, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but it's going to be called Israel, for you have struggled struggled with God and with men, and you won. See, y'all ain't gonna be honest with me. Y'all was always hunky-dory with God. Y'all was always on the up and up with God. But I'm gonna let you know I struggled with God sometime. I wrestle with, why, God, do I have to go through this? Why, God, has this turned out this way? Why, God, am I sick? Why, God? Anybody in here ever ask God why? I know y'all were taught never to question God, but I got news for you. I need to know why I'm going through the hell that I'm going through. Is anybody in here a witness? If you've been going through hell and high water, somebody in here just jeep to your feet and just say, why? Why am I going through this, God? Why am I struggling like this? Why am I going through all this hell and high water? Why? The angel said, you struggled with God and with men, and yet look at you. You prevail. Do I have anybody in this room that just prevailed? You went through something, but you prevailed. You had a situation, but you prevailed. You look like you were about to be knocked down, but you prevailed. You look like you was on your way out, but you prevailed. It looked like there was no way, but you prevailed. Do I have any prevailers in this house? Everybody standing. Look at what he says. Everybody stand. Look at what he says. Look at what he says. Lord, I preached way too long. He says, tell me your name, I pray thee. Tell me. He says, my name is Jacob. He says, why is it that you ask about my name? And the Bible says he blessed him right there. You can be blessed right there.